All right. So everybody at home knows it is now time for the bottom line, aka the Terrible Twos. Neil Patrick Stevens is joining us here for the Terrible Twos, aka the bottom line. He's super excited.
Bottom line.
Bottom line. Is this where I give a rating?
You just seem like you're chilling. So here it comes. It's the final two questions of the show.
Guys.
It's the final two questions, the most important questions. Right. Everything else was just cannon fodder. It was all just, who cares?
Celtics talk. Okay.
No, that was cool. Okay. Question number one. Michael Kenyon Rosenberg. Watch Neil's reaction here. On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Station 11? Spelled out 11, not the numbers.
Right. So anybody that suggested the show and said Station 11, you're wrong. But I think most of them said, wrote it out. I like the show. It's like we talked about the little girl actor was great. Jeevan was great. I think all the acting was really good, really well done. Yep. And the writing, understated though it was, I thought was good as well. My favorite part though was when they would stick on a scene and then flash to the future where everything's all overgrown. That was just when I think they did it like 2 times besides the opening scene. And those were just my favorite. And then some of the very cinematic shots were very good. I thought the show was very well done. So I give it an 8.5.
Whoa. Interesting. Yep. Neil Patrick Stevens, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give this first episode of Station 11?
I would give it a solid 9. I know my rankings are probably a little bit inflated, and you're like, all right, he's saying 9, he really means like 6 or 7 or whatever. But I thought it was really well done. And the fact that it's a limited series, I mean, I might actually even
wait, easy, Tiger Woods.
That's the second question.
I didn't answer that sentence. I'll leave that hanging.
Boy, oh boy.
Man.
What a tease, everybody.
9 out of 10. Really, just a strong production. Just really good writing, good acting. Production quality was good. I'm a slow burn kind of guy. I like that deep slow burn. So I was feeling it on this one.
See,
I don't like everything spelled out for me after the first episode. I like to. It's like a jumbled puzzle, and I like to still be placing the pieces, still figuring out where all the pieces fit, so to speak. So I feel like there's a lot of puzzle pieces that are still kind of jumbled, and I'm curious how they all fit together.
Mm-hmm. See, I know my Neil Patrick Stevens is. I knew this was up your alley, and I knew Michael would fall in love starting at King Lear. I felt very confident. I personally did not think it was like a puzzle, because a puzzle needs way more pieces than this. I felt like it didn't give me very many pieces at all, and that's okay. It just followed basically the story of 2 people. That's what it did for me. For as much as I pooped on it, I think I pooped on it because of the things that I mentioned, that when you're trying to take on something like this, there are a few landmines that you might step on, and they kind of did. But the acting was great. The characters were very likable. I was very happy with the acting and the characters. The small touches, cool. I'm giving it a 6.3. I was going to give it a 6, but I have a feeling that the series itself is a good series. I feel like the series on the whole will be good. So I'm bumping it up 3 points because of that. So I'm giving it a 6.3. Everybody at home, snicker. But here's question number 2. Here's the big one. For the purposes of this podcast, we all had to watch the first episode of Station 11. But now that the podcast is over and we're free to move about the internet, Michael Kenyon Rosenberg, would you watch the second episode of your own volition and not just because you have to?
I love Shakespeare. Not a surprise to Ryan. Now that Ryan's outed me as a huge Shakespeare fan,
And
probably
gloated
not a
more than once.
surprise that to anybody. I love Shakespeare, and actually, I do know a little bit something about the show because my wife has told me that Kirsten joins a band of roving Shakespeare actors. They go from town to town or encampment to encampment to perform Shakespeare for people.
Spoiler alert.
Spoilers, yeah.
I
So
love that.
I mean, I don't know if it's a huge spoiler. It's just that's just what happens. I'm sure you find. I mean, they even said like when she's like sitting there reading the comic book, she's like, "Oh, performance! We're going to perform."
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So it's not. I don't think it's a huge spoiler. The acting was great. The cinematic shots were fantastic. But this show is not for me, so I would not watch the second.
Wow. Why is it not for you?
It's just, I mean, maybe it's just the first episode, but it's just too grim for me. I'm not really into grim stuff. I'm more of a comedy guy. I like to laugh, and there were some comedic moments in this show, but more it was just too grim and dramatic, and that's not up my alley.
Interesting. Now, quite the dichotomy going from somebody that says he doesn't like grim stuff to Neil Patrick Stevens.
The Grim Reaper
loves it. He eats it up.
be my scythe.
Scythe, I think.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen my movies. They're pretty grim.
Pretty grim.
Pretty grim. I mean, I'm not like. I feel like I have an optimistic outlook on life, but in order to do that, I got to play in this grim world. I got to dig in and dig deep and feel that. So I didn't even consider it grim. That's how grim my mentality is. I was kind of like, oh.
You're like, could have been grimmer, actually.
Yeah, we could have really turned it up a little bit. And the fact that you said that they do, I'm also a big Shakespeare fan. I may not be as big as you, but I was very excited. I was immediately when they were doing Lear, I was like, why? What thematically are they trying to say by having this character play Lear? And I still don't quite understand. I probably would have went with like Macbeth or something. Or
Lear is a pretty grim play though too.
Yeah, well, I was thinking more like the supernatural elements of like Macbeth and all that. But
or
Lear
what about
is
the
very-
Tempest? Like it's an allegory for those two characters. That'd been fun.
Yeah, I'm curious what other plays. By the way, did you see the Macbeth movie, Mike? Did you like it?
I have not.
You haven't seen it? Oh,
I have not. No.
great.
My favorite Macbeth album is Rust in Peace. So good.
We're still waiting for your answer, Neil.
So,
Yeah.
am I going to watch it? Yeah. Yes, because it is a limited series, and I don't have to commit like to watching 6, 7. It's too much. But 10 episodes, I can probably pull this off. And I do want to know what the Station 11 is. I want to know what the comic book is. I want to know who the spaceman is. I'm kind of curious. So I might continue, even though I usually say, yeah, I'll keep watching, and I usually don't, but I might actually continue watching this one. So yeah.
You would.
Easy. Contrary to Michael, again, like this whole episode, I didn't really find this to be grim either. I was pleased with the tone. I think the deepest I'd go is call it maybe dour, or like a cloudy day. It's like cloudy, but it wasn't raining. It was like I was very happy with the tone. It does have its own. The show does have its own voice, does have its own tone, and it seemed optimistic, and it didn't focus too much on the death. It just focused more on, the relationship between the two main characters and the realization and the fact that we all knew his brother was going to die. We don't know how or what happens, but I'm like, okay, his brother's not going to make it. He's not a character. We don't need you, but I will not be watching the next episode. Neil will have to tell us what ends up happening.
You can just ask Angie. She knows.
Yeah, I won't watch
He's
it.
already watched it.
I wouldn't be horribly opposed to it. It almost feels like a show that you would enjoy just kind of putting on and letting it take you away to Fantasyland. It's almost like that, but it is a little too dark for happy Fantasyland kind of stuff. But look, if they're doing Shakespeare, spreading the joy, clearly there's some positivity in this show that I think is kind of like the main through line, but we'll see. But yeah, no, it's a no from me. But that's it. Neil, you're going to be our hero. You're the one that's going to tell us how it went.
I was totally off in my predicaments.
That's why you put yourself in a predicament. That's
Well,
what
no, you
did.
said we'd like it, and both of us were. I gave a 6.3. Mike gave an 8.5.
Right, okay, all right. It was like you're not like, will you keep watching it? Yeah,
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Mhm.
Good
Mhm.
points.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But that's it. So everybody at home, if you'd like us to review a series, in the comments below, please tell us. Say WTF She-Ra, Princess of Power. WTF Powder Puff Girls. Is it Power Puff or Powder Puff? Power Puff Girls. WTF Lightning Wolves. Lightning Wolves. That's a new show that's coming out, or whatever. And we'll check it out maybe. And we'll credit you for giving us that suggestion. So what I'm trying to say, everybody, is this podcast was grim, dour, well, except for when we were talking about basketball.
This podcast actually went to a pretty deep philosophical place until we started talking about basketball.
Am I supposed to? I'm supposed.
Yes, you are. Yeah.
He's stretching on the floor like Larry Bird right now.
I was totally confused about what was going on. I'm
You're
totally
in.
lost. Except when we were talking about basketball.
You're in 33. Go. You're in.
Anyway, yeah. Ryan and I are very excited for the playoffs.
No. What was this podcast about?
Basketball.
Right. Perfect. I love it. This
Okay.
podcast is about basketball.
Unfortunately.
Sorry.
So what we're trying to say here, everybody, is if one of the shows you could also recommend, WTF NBA on TNT,
How would we even
WTF
find the first episode of that?
WWE Raw, WWE SmackDown, WTF Super Bowl. Those are all TV shows, kind of. Just remember, everybody, thanks for joining us.
Did they even
We really
televise Super Bowl one?
you. Yeah, probably. Was that 68?
They
The
didn't
Packers,
have TV back then. Come on.
Packers won in 68 and 69, I believe. Look, the point is, thanks for giving us a like, everybody. Please share this with your friends. Tell your friends to check it out. Hey, it's free to you and it hooks us up a ton. And then we're going to keep you laughing forever. And always remember, especially beyond everything else, what Michael Kenyon Rosenberg always likes to say.
I always like to say, don't forget to register to be an organ donor at donatelife.net/register. And then when you're done doing that, do it 2 or 3 times. Why not? I like to do it about 9 times a week. Then just go. Don't forget to watch the first of things. The end.
Basketball freeze frame. Basketball. Oh, grabbing a rebound. Steal. Oh, both me and Neil. Oh, 1-on-1. Here, freeze frame.
Sweatpants.
Hey, it's Celtics Warriors. That's my final prediction. Me versus you. It's gonna be.
Wow.
It's gonna be
Who wins?
Showdown,
Who wins?
Well, I'm a little bit biased, but
You think Celtics in how many games?
I think we polish you off in 6. I would say.
Warriors in 3. Warriors in 3. We're gonna beat you 4 games in 3 tries. Yeah.